Alright, are you recording?
Yep.
Okay. Alright, hello to you all, and thank you guys for being my audience. My name is Contreras. I'm going into my senior year here at Western New Mexico University. And before I start, I want to actually ask you guys what you guys think of this picture and what you guys think it might depict or resemble. Just take a couple seconds. Don't be afraid to throw out any radical answers.
Virus. Coronavirus.
Virus. Anybody else?
Why'd you block out the key?
Well, I know what I gave you guys an answer. Anybody else?
Conflict.
Close enough. What it actually is the amount of terrorist attacks that have happened since the year 2000. And what it shows is the darker the color where the region or wherever the place is, the more prominent terrorist attacks have happened in that area. Most notably, as we all know, in the Middle East, Central America with the drug cartel, and Central Africa as well. I mean, governments are always overturning over there. And that's the topic I want to talk to you guys about today, is what terrorism is, and basically give you guys a big, broad definition, and hopefully you guys are gurus by the time I'm done. But what I want to start off with is what a basic definition of what terrorism is, and I believe Dr. Randall Law from Birmingham Southern College gives a pretty good definition. And he labels it with two core assertions. The first is that individuals or groups act through rationale and conscious thinking with political and cultural context. The second core assertion is that terrorism is a common act intended to influence the behavior of the audience. Now, the audience, from my interpretation, is anybody who understands what's happening in the world right now. This could be the oldest man with the worst case of dementia to someone who's very young, who just has a good gist of what's going on in the world around them. But, however, Caleb Carr from the World Policy Journal gives another good definition, and he actually gives a synonym for terrorism, and he labels it as total war. And total war is a word that hasn't been used since about the 12th or 13th century, and used to describe the world's bloodiest and most gory wars up to that date. And since the 12th or 13th century, terrorism really hasn't changed. It's been basically the same thing: the slaughtering of the village or of the town that the terrorist group wants to overtake, the killing of the men, raping of the women, drowning and killing of the children, and then taking what they see as valuable: gold, treasure, jewelry, things like that. However, terrorism has actually changed in modern time. Up to about 150 years ago, terrorism started to overturn into something else thanks to human innovation and development. And since then, we've seen more recent types of terrorism, such as hijacking. As we know, the September 11th attacks back in 2001. This is a self-bombing attack in Madrid, Spain of 2005, and then here, an attack on a England bus back in 2005 as well. Both made by self-made bombs, and one done by suicide mission, the other done by just the planting of the bomb. But even more so, it's evolved, and terrorist groups are becoming more strategic, they're becoming more organized, and their planning is becoming much more deeper, and it's actually becoming a lot better than what we anticipated. And Ryan Thornton, a professor of Harvard, indicates that, and he explains the strategy of Al-Qaeda and Osama bin Laden up to the September 11th attacks, and he breaks them down into three main phases. The first phase is the experimental phase, and these were attacks in 1998 on two U.S. embassies, one in Kenya and one in Tanzania, killing about 200 people. The U.S. then retaliate, and that's the point of this experimental phase, to see what the target will do. This was in Tanzania, and the second attack occurred in the year 2000, testing the waters again of the United States on the USS Cole, killing about 20 sailors and nearly sinking the ship in Yemen. Again, the U.S. failed to retaliate. So we move on to the second stage, the high-profile stage, and that is fulfilling their mission of destroying a national landmark, something that their enemies see as something significant. And we all saw the World Trade Center as significant, and so did Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda thought that it displayed the world's new cohesiveness, as well as the U.S.'s power, their strength, and their wealth as well, and their influence on global politics. And as we all know, unfortunately, the Twin Towers were destroyed to the ground, and that moved on to